think so.
Fresh killer.
What's up, tribe? Today we have this goddess, uh, this goddess named Artheena, who is a sexual healer, an erotic therapist, an event host, and the mother of two daughters. She's
Two of
originally
them.
two daughters, right?
Two of them.
That's right. She's originally from Gary, Indiana. She's now residing in Los Angeles and she does events in the Bay Area. We are so glad to have her here on this show. Please open up and be ready to receive the testimony and teachings of the goddess, Artheena. How are you, lady?
I'm doing really, really well. I feel really super honored and special to be having this conversation with you. Thanks for asking. And I'm outside getting some sun. It's not too hot. It's been really hot, but this is like really good weather. So I'm having a good day.
Absolutely, getting that vitamin D. Awesome. Awesome. So, could you tell us how did you get on this path to teaching the properties of the healing properties of sex? How did you? What is your journey? How did you get here to this place to be preaching this particular gospel?
Yeah. So it's been about maybe 4 years now since I've been on this very specific journey. And it started from life just putting me in some very uncomfortable situations with my health, with my marriage, with like my financial situation. And I had become really like disconnected and numb. So that was like in my body, just from like experiencing all the pain. I have recently had a surgery that was very necessary at the time, where they had cut open my chest and removed some tissue. So that had left me with a lot of physical pain. And I was looking for a way to be able to feel anything, honestly and truly. And so, long story short, I got introduced to this tantric priestess school, which I could not afford, but got scholarship to, and was able to like travel to these really mystic and beautiful places all over the country. My first time out of the country was to Bali by myself for almost 2 weeks. And it really exposed me to a different type of lifestyle. And the more I delved into it, the more I started to realize my own gifts. And I wanted to share that with a community that resonated with my experiences, which is a Black community. And in those spaces, I was always the only Black woman. So that was like really interesting to navigate, but it allowed me, ironically, a safe space to like really cultivate my gift, because there was no competition. I knew that they were not the same. And I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but like so eventually starting off on my own healing journey, and I wanted to be able to offer people techniques and skills to where they can still connect with themselves and connect with other people, in their family, in their relationships, in a very practical way, because we have like religion, and that serves this purpose, and then we have education, and that serves this purpose, but like we're human people, and we need to find a way to like enjoy this very human experience without shame. We feel things, we go through things, and I wanted to provide safe space for us to normalize that. Because what I found out in my healing journey is that I'm not the only person that was going through this stuff. Like the more I start talking about like, yo, I'm going through divorce. Homegirl over here, she going through divorce. Homegirl over here ain't happy. I'm like, yo, raising kids is crazy. It's turned out homegirl over here got postpartum and homegirl over here got postpartum. But then also, yo, I'm really living my best life. And I really, am so connected to my body that like I can understand and navigate through my emotions to where this might be going on. But at the end of the day, I know that inside of me is where the pleasure resonates, where the joy, is started. So if I can access that and, develop the pathways to get to that, then no matter what it is I'm really going through, I'm always good. And so that's how I started my brand, Heart of Malele, because I want to share that opportunity with other people.
Absolutely. And Heart of Malele, that's the website as well. People, please take the time to look that up. There's some good stuff on there. So what do you think you were able to, you realized something was wrong, and you said something very powerful. You just wanted to be able to feel something. You had become numb to
Mm.
things. You went on this journey outside of the country, outside of yourself, outside of your body, outside of your norms. Why do you think that? And you said that you were the only Black person there, right? In most of those places. What do you think is prohibiting so many more of our people, our women specifically, from saying, "Hey, I'm hurting right now, and I'm willing to look outside of my norm, my city, whatever it is that confines
Mhm.
all the way outside to get to that." What do you think prohibits them from doing that? And then also, what is it about you that you were just like, nothing stopping me from finding this happy, enchanted
Those are
place?
really good questions. Thank you for asking. So I think that what might be prohibiting women, specifically Black women, is because we're socialized to believe that we have to produce in order to like be relevant, and that our value is rooted in our ability to care for our home and provide and just be present, and we have to be strong. But I would really, really encourage you guys, the next time you wanted to tell a Black woman that she's strong, to like really look at the wounds she endured while having to be strong and recognize those, rather than straightforward to the end of the story, which is her strength, because it wasn't always strength in the beginning throughout the whole story. So and I really think that that's the issue. It's like, if I have kids, I have to be attached to my kids the whole entire time, not realizing that we're socialized to believe that. But in the beginning, it takes a whole village to raise a kid, and it takes a whole community to nourish a relationship. And now we're putting that expectation on 1 and 2 and 3 people, and we're losing our fucking minds.
Hmm.
Seriously. I
Hmm.
don't know how you can expect a person to really hold it down. That's a lot of pressure for one person, man or woman, however you want to identify. So when it came to me specifically, I have this autoimmune condition, which actually June is myasthenia gravis awareness month, and that's the condition that I'm living with. It's an autoimmune neurological situation, and that's the reason why I had to have the surgery. I had it November 2017. And I also have codependent personality, which means I can get a little addicted sometimes. So based off of my mental state at the time and the amount of pain I was feeling in my body, I knew that the narcotics and the opioids I wasn't gonna be able to survive mentally and physically that way. You know what I'm saying? So I was really feeling the pain. And so in my mind, it was like, fuck it, Artheena, you could have already died and you didn't. But imagine if you did. And guess what? One day you are. So what's up? What's up?
Mhm.
Like, could you imagine how disappointing it would be for me to have had died, not even being able to speak my own fucking truth? No way. No way for me to have had left my daughter's only impression of me is, oh, she just complied.
Hmm.
Get out of here.
Mhm. Mhm.
I couldn't accept that. So, thankfully, it's a little drama. I ain't gonna lie. But thankfully, my kids have a really good dad. So I left them. They wasn't gonna die. I'm not, and I'm saying that now, but it wasn't easy for me to do that then.
Mhm.
That the situation at the house was really crazy. So I left the house. Like
Mhm.
I need to focus on healing my body because I was literally losing my mind.
Right.
And my body was incapacitated. So something had to give.
Right.
So that was me changing the norm. I'm not about to take care of these kids no more because I can't.
Right.
Not because I don't want to, because I physically can't. And if
Wow.
you're not going to help me otherwise, I'm going to make you have to do it. You get what I'm saying? And if I'm sleeping in my car and I get an opportunity to be flown out to Bali for 2 weeks in luxury, guess what? I'm parking my car and I'm getting on the plane. That's
Mhm.
how it really was for me. So now it's like, okay, could I probably make some less drastic decisions? Yeah, definitely. But it also was like, as I'm having these real life experiences, it was translated in the spiritual as well. Like, are you going to just go for it? And I'm still having to like pull from those experiences now today as I'm growing and elevated in my business. Artheena, this is what you sacrificed.
Right.
So what's
Right.
up? And then so in my business, I'm showing people, giving them a safe space for them to be able to come to these hard decisions. Like, yo, you have kids, but that's not your only identity.
Yeah.
And you might have lost that, but this is how we can get back to it. Like that's what I think the issue was, and how I was able to like move past it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I was thinking about, I should say that now you and your kids are good. They're with you all the time. You're back in mommy mode, right? I want to let everyone know.
Yeah.
Back. Let's get that established. But I know I read that the march for the slaves from the villages to the coast where the boats were, they would march, they would have chains, and they would bond people with ropes or whatever the case may be, and everybody would be bound in some way except for the mothers who had small children with them, because the belief that the children, that was the chain. And there was no way that they would leave their children, right? And I'm hearing you say that had you not have stepped out for that time, you would have gone insane. You possibly would not be here.
I wouldn't have been able to show up for my kids the way that I am today, for sure. And since you mentioned it, I was on disability during that time for a whole 365. So probably like I had the surgery in November 2017. By like the summer, not even, maybe like spring of 2018 is when I had left the house. And then, come that fall, things are back in order, with the shared custody and things like this. But I needed that time and space. And it's unfortunate that I had to take it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's really unfortunate, but it was necessary.
But you, though, women, Black women, the community is built around Black women. Single parent household. When you hear a single parent household, it's you think a Black mother in the household with the kids, right? Shout out to the dads, but a single parent household led by a father in our community, that would be rare. In any community period, like that would be rare. And so generations and generations of conditioning of, once you begin to have children, no matter how young you are, that is your life. And I'm just wondering, what is it about you? I want to focus on you. What is it about you that you were able to look at it like, I need to do this to be better? How were you able to look outside of that? This is generations and generations and generations.
So that I was actually going to mention that. So a lot of the conditionings are also, generational. And if you were to look into my work, I really deal with how emotional trauma is generational, and how it's stored in the body, and how we can do different practices and different things with the body to help us relieve that. But if you really want to get into it, my generation, I come from teen mothers. So my mom was, 15 when she got pregnant. Her mom was 15 when she got pregnant. Her mom was maybe 14, 15 when she got pregnant. And, shout out to my mom. When she was of age, I'm from Gary, Indiana, y'all. So, yeah. So and I go back and I visit, and, then as a child, I didn't understand it, but, hindsight is 2020. And with age comes wisdom. So when my mom was of age, she joined the military. And, from there, she moved around and things like that. She got out of the military. We moved to California. Living in California offers you a different type of set of opportunities and a different type of lifestyle. Even if you are poor in California, you are still privileged. And in a real way, even just being able to have access to the sun, you get what I'm saying, to the sand on the beach, that's privilege. And a lot of people don't realize that. So when I'm in this situation, I have a unique perspective to say, yo, my mom, she left. I didn't move back with my mom till I was almost 10 years old. And, I would stay with her here and there.
So your
At a
mom,
time.
your mom left to go to the military. Is that?
Yeah, and she left me with my grandma. And so, I would go and stay with her here, a year there, a year here. And, I'm going back and forth from Texas to Indiana, Texas to Indiana. And that was an experience for me. That was my trauma, actually. And so this work is really about not how to get over the trauma, but how to alchemize it. You get what I'm saying? Like, how do we not run from the things that we're afraid of? How do we not hide and avoid the things that are hurting us? But how do we really like stand up to it and say, yo, Artheena, this is what you experienced. It hurt when your mom left. It hurt a lot. I needed my mom. I definitely did. But also, can you see the privilege that you gained in, from her absence? And that's hard. That's hard for me to say, yo, my pain allotted me this. And so when I'm considering like, yo, like in my body, I can't manage. The pain was like fire starting from the inside of me, and I can't get outside of my body, but the fire is like in my bones, and I'm feeling my bones shift and things like it makes you cringe on the inside. For real. So I'm like, yo, I can't even like be here physically for my kids, and it's driving me crazy. So if I can go and sit on a couch in silence and just be still so my body don't hurt. You know what I'm saying? To allow me for my body to then, hey, I was gone for a year. But do you see like how I'm able to like be present with you now? So it's like, you gotta think of the sacrifice and really like start to alchemize the trauma that you experience and what I really this term just came to me. I just found out about it. It's like we focus so much on the post-traumatic stress syndrome and things like that, but there's also post-traumatic growth. So, like when I'm working with my clients, I always tell them, finish the story. So yes, I was a teen mom, comma, and what is the rest of the story? Like it doesn't like stop right there.
So, okay, so we've established the trauma, right? And you talked about your clients, and I'm wondering, with all the trauma that we have, how do you use sex to heal that?
Because we're human. So like we have these innate responses and things like that. And we talked about this, previously about how parenting is erotic. And so I want to do it justice. So how does sex relate to that? So sex is creative energy. When you do it right, it's a really sacred practice and energy exchange. And so like if you think like as soon as you have a thought here and it turns you on, in seconds you feel it in your pants. Seconds, that's how fast it moves, right? And it's such a buildup of energy in the pelvis. But then when we learn to like harness that, not only when we learn to harness it, but when we learn the light switch and we can turn it on for ourselves and we can harness that energy, we can use it and move it to create things, to move past things, and to alchemize, like we were talking about, to put that energy elsewhere. So we start with the sex, but we don't end at sex. We start with sex and we end at divinity, because it's about finding alignment and accessing that energy of God to create and manifest the lifestyles that we desire. How can we, what I'm saying, like be going through these things and still stay sane in our mind and stay connected to our body and, to the people that we really care about without talking to them mean and pushing them away because we don't know how to express ourselves. It's because we know where to access the joy and the pleasure inside of us because we've worked with our sex and been able to hold it and really recognize the power and the beauty and what it's like to connect with somebody, whether it's physically or even, like outside of sexual intimacy, just being able to connect with somebody and feel comfortable and safe and appreciate them just for their human experience. That's beautiful.
You said we start with sex and end at divinity. I was wondering if you could speak to this connection between God and sex.
Yeah.
Some people may
Yeah.
find that to be sacrilegious outside of marriage.
Yeah.
So what is this connection between sex and the divine, between sex
Thanks
and
for asking. Yeah, so in my opinion, my belief, like, right, this is how I navigate my life. I really feel that we are God manifests and we're all just a little piece of this one big connected energy, right? This collective energy. And so the body is like a portal on how we navigate um, through this human experience and the things that the body communicates to us. It gives us warnings, it gives us understanding. And so when you tap into like what the body is trying to communicate to you, I really feel like that helps to guide you along the way. And so if this is uh like if this work is about emotional intelligence and emotional intimacy, you know you a little piece of God, I'm a little piece of God, and we get a whole bunch of little pieces of God together, and we can connect with each other, and we can understand that just because I feel a particular way about you, don't mean I need to jump your bones, but we can like really use this energy and like really put some powerful things out in the universe, and really like be able to like, oh, you feel like you need touch, and for me to be able to come and give you a hug without having to go into, oh, now I need to, be attached and these things, like get what you need. We need connection. And like I said, sexual energy is creative energy, so when we can just cultivate this on a really deep level, I really see how we can just get over so much hurt. Like it's in my experience, like right now people are having a huge difficulty just connecting on just basic level. We have social media and everybody can talk and type on social media, but you put everybody in a room together and it's a little awkward most of the time. So, like it's a missing link somewhere. And what I'm finding is because we don't even know our own selves. So how can I take the opportunity to know you? So the more that I get to know me, the more I'm actually really getting to know God. And if I can get to know God more, then I can move towards that direction of what am I really here for?
okay. What does so you said, just because I know you, we connect, that doesn't mean I have to jump your bones. And you talk about kind of using the sexual energy and kind of using it for other things. What might that look like in terms of intimacy, knowing that the sexual attraction is there and you want to use that, but not necessarily for sex? How might that manifest itself in a one-on-one
Hmm.
situation?
Can I give you a very practical example? I
Absolutely.
don't want to make you uncomfortable, but um, you're a really good looking guy.
Oh, snap. What?
Yeah, if you didn't know. So you're a good looking guy. And I like just sit with that, right? So when I first met you, like if I was in my lower vibe and stuff, it was like, oh, like he's a good looking guy. I don't really know what to do. Like I appreciate you. You're very distinguished, and I can tell that you just carry yourself well and that you have something to offer, whatever it is. And so could you imagine if I just like wanted to take from you because I don't know how to control my body's natural response to being intrigued and appreciative of who you are. And so then like, if you would have given into that, and we've established, for those who don't know, we've established a really good business connection, regardless of where that may go. And so I think that by being able to stay aligned and reserved, that opened up opportunity for growth in the relationship, wherever it may go. And a lot of times when we're just focused on the physical connection, we cut ourselves short a lot of the times. Like think of how many times you hear people who are good friends and then they get intimate and now they have these emotions that they can't navigate through. That's unfortunate. And in my life, I don't want to lose any more people. So I tell everyone that I meet, like, hey, I'm looking for forever friends. Like I want to be able to communicate and work things out. Stay connected because I never know when I might need you. And hey, you might need me, and I want to be able to say, hey, you can come and hit me up, in whatever capacity. And when we establish those type of eternal connections, I think that we can move a lot further along as a society. Like we have technology and things like that, but our morale is really fucking low here in the States. So yeah, that's that on that.
I appreciate that. Do you think that that realization is a lot easier for women to do than for men?
Yeah, for sure. And as a mom, I've never been like, I'm a new mom every time, like next year I'll have 11 and an 8-year old. I'm new again. It's always changing. It's very fluid. So I'm really learning and trying to find out ways on how to communicate um, sexual intelligence to kids, because in my experience, when I'm talking to my clients, especially men, they weren't given practical tools on how to handle their body's arousal.
Facts.
And so like now you have these reactions going on in your body and you don't know what to do with it. So guess what? You're going to do the first thing that you know that gives you some type of release. Okay. So, and that's worked for you. And so that's what you know. And then that's what perpetuate. Um, and I was just even talking to a guy the other day, and he was like, he doesn't go to the strip club because once it get hard, he gonna do something with it. And I was like, wait, you gonna force it, or hold on, what are we talking about? like back, like I need some more information. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean? Because why would you even put yourself in that type of situation? You got to know yourself. Because what? And so I really, yes, I feel that maybe men. And then it's also different because men also, they play with themselves and they touch themselves as little boys, and they don't get as reprimanded as little girls when they grow up touching on themselves and things like that. So men grow up with a little bit more advocacy than women, unfortunately. And then that also translates into how they experience their pleasure because they have more shame around their genitals. And it's just a whole vicious little cycle that we're dealing with.
So you're saying that the women have more shame around their genitals, or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that women grow up with more shame, but then also men grow up with less understanding on how to, move through their erection or their arousal and things like that.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's a major problem with boys and how we raise males is the way in which we choose women to, well, be choosy, right? As far as who you lay down with, so on and so forth, and it's special and value your body. I would definitely like to see more education around young boys. Value your body, value who you sleep with, and don't go sleeping with anyone. Don't go sleeping with a girl just because she'll let you, and things like that. Like, my goodness, we need that. We need a lot of that. But I wanted to go, okay, so you talked about, you brought up your daughters. You also spoke earlier about parenting being an erotic thing. And I'm wondering, how does, given the stigma and everything that you're trying to work against, right? How does that go in your own household? You have an 8-year-old and 11-year-old. Has that talk come up? Is that talk ever
Yeah.
flow? How, like, what?
Yeah. So it's an experiment for me. So we'll see how it works out when they get older. But for sure. So once I started to notice that my oldest daughter was like developing some shame, like she would like jump when I would walk in the bathroom, or she would like try to hide herself. I definitely became more open in the home, what was going on with my body. I wouldn't hide, like, when I'm on my period and stuff like this. So when they would ask me questions, I would give them real answers. And when they ask like, where does a baby come from? I'm like, oh, a man has to put it in his stomach with the seed. Now this is like when they were way younger. And so when they're asking like, what's a man's seed? I'm like, a man's seed is, his semen. And, so I'm giving them, the information. I'm not going to lie to them because I really want them to have an understanding. But I'm, even then they can put the pieces together as it becomes age appropriate. But then, yeah, I give it to them straight, like right now, my daughter, she's going through puberty. So now I'm telling her, more about like making love and the connection of like loving a person, and things like that. And she might not necessarily understand what I'm saying by making love, but you have it in your ear. Like, so when the pieces start to connect, it's not too overwhelming of information. and it's kind of like a precursor to the things that you're going to be experiencing in your body.
Right, 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 right. Um, would you, it's so you have a generation of teen parents on your mother's side, and how would you discourage your daughters from going on that path, or is that up to them to determine when they
Yeah, I definitely, even now, because my youngest daughter, she really admires me. So she's like, I want to be a mom like you. I want to be a mom like you.
Mhm.
And so I tell her like my struggles, like, hey, I would wait till you know yourself. And in my experience, I'm just not learning myself at 30 years old. So if I'd have knew, those things were important, I wouldn't have done the things that would have gotten me a baby before I knew myself. You
Mhm.
know, saying it in that way. So it's like you have the foundation versus me just saying, this is what you do with your body. This is what you don't do with your body, and ignore when you feel it come up. Like that's not real, because did it work for me? Hell no. And I don't know if it worked for you, but you know what I'm saying? I was a little curious, you know what I'm saying? Like what's really, so I think that I am definitely trying to find age appropriate ways to encourage self pleasure and things of this nature, and in a way of like encouraging curiosity, like see what your body look like, see what's going on, and track how it's going to change, because your body's going to change. So you need to know your body right now so that you know when your body is different and things like that. That's how I'm approaching it right now.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Okay, now you have the website Heart of Malele, and you offer things, right?
Hmm.
You offer intuitive private sessions. Okay, and so this is online though, right? This is
Yeah.
on, and I was wondering, one, if you could give us a glimpse into what that would look like. But then
Yeah.
also, you talk about things that are blocking people from experiencing all that sex, the healing properties of sex.
Yeah.
What are some of those
For
things that block people from really experiencing that?
So, in my experience, what is usually blocking people from experiencing just the evolution of their sex is that they give the responsibility of their pleasure to somebody else. Um, and I think that that's really irresponsible, because uncommunicated expectations is unfair on both parties, because I want you to read my mind, and now I think that I don't have to ask for what I want. And that's not really how the universe is like working in the rate of exchange with energy. So what I really encourage people is to like own your pleasure. How do you own your pleasure? You get to know your body, know what you like, and that way you can receive it, you can ask for it. And also, when we talk about platonic intimacy and putting too much responsibility on one person, guess what? I'm not expecting you to fulfill all of my needs, because my homegirl, she loves me in this particular type of way. She gives me things, she makes me get dressed up, and we go and we have good dinners. And then over here, my homegirl, she'll give me a hug, and we can sit up and we can watch movies and eat popcorn, and I don't really need you and expect you to be cuddling with me, because guess what? If I want to go and just hang out, and I'm using the word cuddle loosely, but if I want to just, go and hang out on the couch, I got somebody I can go do that with platonically. And then when I come and I meet you, I can come and meet you fulfilled and whole, and see how we can exchange from, how you can experience me and offer, and in me offering you my pleasure. You get what I'm saying? And how much more beautiful that is, because with unspoken expectations, you also set yourself up for disappointment. And
Hmm.
then when you're disappointment, you don't really want to hurt the person's feelings and tell them that they did X, Y, and Z. But now you over here mad and you pent up and frustrated. And it's just, it you ain't connected. And then there's like a lack of transparency, and then you don't really feel like you feel safe around this person, so then you can't really go that deep. It's a whole rabbit hole. So I always start with, hey, let's just focus on you and how you feel. Now that's what we have the intuitive session for. And I call it intuitive because it's different for every person. And
Mm.
what, what that could look like is that, say if a person, like a woman is telling me like, she's like really frustrated and pent up and she don't know what's really going on. I'm probably gonna do like some sort of like body movement type of intuitive session where we're like really working on activating the sacrum so she can, have a safe space to like get a little fiery and a little worked up and express that.
What is the sacrum?
The sacrum is the little triangle bone at the bottom of the back, right at the joining of the butt,
Oh,
and we hold a lot of tension there. And so, like, I've learned that working with the sacrum from women is how to release the wild woman. And so then in reverse, if I have a male partner, he's like, she's real timid and she's always on eggshell. I don't really know what to do. And, then I would, recommend that type of practice. And then like for men, if they're like, I always offer to go through semen retention with men as a way for them to cultivate their energy because that's a lot of energy that you're expelling with every ejaculation. So there's different practices that we could go through with that. It could look like breathing exercises.
stop right there. Let's stop for a second right there.
Yeah.
Semen retention, does that mean that you should not engage in sex, or you
No,
stop? You should engage in sex regularly, but you should stop before climax, right?
not even stopping. You should move the energy. So you would just like slow it down. You know what I'm saying? Actually, still enjoy the pleasure of it, but
Mhm.
like connect to the pleasure of also the build down. And then when you do a breathing exercise, it's like we always focus on the inhale, but like how good does it feel to like exhale and feel the air actually leave in the body? You know what I'm saying? And so then that's a part of an intuitive session. Intuitive session could also be like body work. Um, and so that's where I'm actually like going with through physical touch in different areas of the body. Yeah, it just depends on the person.
Yeah. Still want to go back. So, what when I'm so fascinated by semen retention. I recently learned about this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that to ultimately make your orgasm stronger, or or do you just like how long should a person
Yeah,
engage
I have bread. I don't have a penis, so I
the
have
fact?
bread, and
Mhm.
just in case you were curious, it's not one down there. So just so you know,
Thank you for
um, nope, no worries. So
Mhm.
I work with my clients, and they've actually gotten some results from this. So I recommend every ninth engagement is when you should be releasing, and that. Masturbation, conscious masturbation, is a way to achieve that. Also, you know, avoiding masturbation also can help too, depending on where the person is at. Also, porn is killing male vitality. There's just like all these different things, and it depends on the purpose on the person. Because what happens when you're like constantly stimulated with like this, and even like women who are using vibrators and things like the rose, my God, um, what's happening is that you're conditioning your brain to only
Oh,
receive.
I don't know what the rose is.
Oh, okay. The rose is this little suction toy that's really famous right now. Yeah.
And if it does it feel like oral sex for a woman or
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
I don't have one. Um,
okay.
but
It's
yeah.
pop streets. Thank you. I had never heard of the rose.
Yeah. So that what you're doing is you're programming your brain to be able to only be able to be stimulated with extreme stimulation
Mhm.
and only a particular type of way. So I don't say don't use it. I just say, be conscious of that.
Okay. Okay, for sure. You also sell Yoni. Is it Yoni or Yanni?
I say
Suppository.
Yoni. Some people say Yanni. I
Okay.
say Yoni.
I originally say Yoni. I just got self-conscious about it. But you sell Yoni suppositories.
Mm-hmm.
And what is that and how does that help in terms of sex?
Yeah, so I created the products because I get a lot of people asking me about the Yoni Pearl. And what a Yoni Pearl is like a piece of cotton or gauze that is wrapped up in a little ball with some string with whole herbs like ground up on the inside. And you're supposed to insert this and leave it in for a period of like 12 to 24 hours. From my studies, and according to my vagina, I only have one. Leaving something inside there. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want you guys to know where I'm coming from.
This is one vagina. Got
Yeah. Right. No, seriously. So, from my experience, leaving something inside of your vagina for that long is not good. It's supposed to be a self-cleaning environment. So, even like tampons that on the box it tell you not to leave anything in your vagina for that long. So then people, when they pull it out, they're seeing like all this like discharge and things like that, and that's supposed to indicate that the pearl like cleansed them. But I would like to encourage you to consider maybe the pearl itself is creating this environment because it shouldn't be in there so long. So anyway, kept getting these questions about the pearl, so I wanted to offer an alternative to be able to offer people, which was a suppository. And what it is that I've taken cocoa butter and shea butter, and I've mixed it with some oil, some jojoba oil that I've infused with specific herbs. So you get this and this really concentrated little bullet of butter, and you insert it vaginally overnight, and then you get direct contact with those muscle tissues with the herbs. So there's three different varieties. One is for general maintenance. You can use it before and after intimacy, after your cycle, or just to offer yourself some balance. It helps to balance the pH, helps to restore the muscle tissue and the moisture. And I really get a lot of reviews of how it restores the odor and things like this. Just like very preventative maintenance. And then there's one for pain for women who have really bad cramps. I made that because I have a lot of friends who have really bad endometriosis, and it helps them out a lot. They swear by the product. So same process, but I just use some pain relieving herbs for the nervous system, and you get that like right onto those muscles inside of the vagina. And then there's also one for women who experience like frequent yeast infection and things like that. So that one has antibacterial properties.
some good stuff. Yeah, yeah. So you throw events. I've been to one of your events in Oakland, near
Yeah.
Union Square, and you have another one coming up. We're going to get to that real soon. So you do this thing where you stand before everyone who is there. The event was about poetry. There was musicians there, really positive event. But the way that your sexuality was channeled into the entire crowd, and it was so effortless, and the way that you were able to transfer that to people through, I won't give it away, but there was stretching involved and there were certain things involved. We all got involved, and I was I'm looking around at the way in which you're impacting people. I was just like, oh wow, like this is real. Nothing too major. I don't want to give people the wrong idea, but it was like you are a vessel, right? And people felt so comfortable in that space with their sexuality. And I'm wondering, how were you always like that, right? And how did you come to be this person that is so fluid and so open, and you make people feel so comfortable with sex?
Yeah.
What how
Um,
did this take place? How did this happen? Was there a transformation? Is that what you were speaking of before?
I think so. I've always had this flirtatious type,
Uh,
sensual quality to myself. That's the shadow, right? So shadow is like when you have this quality, there's like a non negative connotation to it, or a low vibration energy to it, to where if you're not conscious of it, it can, be a little dangerous. So
Be
as
attracting the wrong attention, or
yeah, or even like, so, how you're saying, like, I don't know what's going on with this now. Saying like being able to connect and touch people in a particular type of way. I've always been able to do that, but didn't know how to control it or use it accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Because it would sometimes turn out a little bad, like, giving too much, or they didn't have, like, I didn't have the right intentions behind it, right?
Mhm.
So I had to learn how to navigate that. But then now that I know what my intention is, and I'm able to um, channel that energy, with in a higher vibration. Like, I'm not trying to seduce you or anything. I really just want us to be able to connect and trust and feel safe. And that means I have to feel all those things inside of myself first and foremost, and then really trust in the gift to be able to transmute it to you so that you can feel it too. I have to really believe that the work is real. And so uh it took some time for me to be able to like harness that energy in that way, to say, hey, um you can do this thing, but do the thing for good reasons. Don't be out here trying to manipulate people and stuff like that. And that's the shadow. um yeah, that's the shadow part of it.
why do you think you were chosen by whatever higher power you believe in? Why do you think you were chosen by that higher power to do this work?
I know exactly what it feels like to like need somebody just to give you a hug,
Mm,
and not have anybody to show up, and not feeling um, empowered to ask for the help that I needed. Um, and so if I could just show up for a person to let them know that they're not alone,
mm,
um, then I understand the impact that can have on a person just to get through the next day, because God will send me people like that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was in the Bay Area and I was living in my car, like people would hit me up like, oh, Artheena, like I would really be sitting there like, oh my God, God, where I'm going to park the car at tonight, like show me, you know what I'm saying? And I get settled in and I like, be like, God, is it safe? And, try to psych myself out to fall asleep. And so I'm like, hey, Arthena, what you doing tonight? You want to come hang out? Can you spend the night? What's going on? I'm on my way. I'm on my way. And those little moments were like life saving for me. And so I really am invested, okay, in creating safe space for people to, ask for what it is that they need, and also receive what it is that they're looking for. But we're not just going to stop there. I also want to create safe space for people to learn and cultivate their gifts so that they can offer it to the people who need it. And that means that you need to be able to navigate through the bullshit that you've experienced. And that means that you need to come to understandings of who you really are. And, like me, people would say, hey, thinking that I'm like, sleeping with a lot of people and stuff like that. No, these is just like really my friends. And I like to connect with people. Like I really enjoy that. That's my jam. You know what I'm saying? So no, I'm not sleeping with the homie. We just, vibing. And so it took a lot for me to be able to like brush that off my shoulders. Like, hey, Arthena, you know what the fuck it is. So, be chill. I want to, create opportunities for people to come to terms with themselves in that way.
tell us about the event coming up.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So the venue, first off, is hella dope. If you want to slide through early in the day, do an interview there in the space, that would be dope. Also, let me know. It's right in, like you said, the Jack London location, right on the train tracks. It's a vibe. But then also, like you said, we're gonna do like some meditation. I'm gonna have some other healers of color come out and offer their gifts, just to create an opportunity for you to like catch a breath. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Mhm.
then when you let the air out, like get an opportunity to like get some things to also fill your soul. It's you don't like it's gonna be really dope. And then once we get an opportunity, like feed our souls and like really just um land in the space. I have some dope artists coming to bless us, like with some very soulful vibes. They're so talented. I'm really honored for them to stop by. Some dope poets that's gonna come and bless us. Um, it's just a really great opportunity to like be with like-minded people, no drama. It's almost like, when you go to your granny house and she cooked and you can like just go sit with the food on the couch and you ain't got to wash the dishes, you know what I'm saying? And you could just sit there and be chill, you can laugh a little bit and then go home. It's kind of like that type of vibe for sure.
Okay, now give us some specifics now. Address, date, time, where can people get tickets?
Yeah. I'm also gonna have some new products that I'm debuting there as well. So I'm excited to let the people try those. But we're gonna be at 95 Linden Street, Suite 6 on this coming Sunday, which is the 27th. The doors are gonna open up at 5:30. You can go to heartofmalele.com. So it's heart common spelling of MILELE.com. And then you'll click on events and the event title is A Soulful Vibe. Right now, the tickets are actually on pre-sale until tomorrow. Then they'll go up $5.
Okay, okay, okay. Oh my goodness. Well, I went to the event like I said last time, and oh my goodness, it was very strong vibes, very soulful, very artistic, and humbling. It's coming at a time when there have been no events for like over a year due to COVID-19 in the Bay Area, and this event
Hmm.
is coming right on time because we need to learn how to interact with one another on all levels. And I think you are the best person to reteach us how to do that and teach us how to do it in an even better and more meaningful way.
I really appreciate that because when I decided to do the event, it was like something that I needed. And I was like, yo, I need to be around people. So let me find somewhere for people to come. And I'm really grateful that it's impacting people the way that it has because after the first one, everyone was like, when's the next one?
Yeah, we need it. We fiend it. We need it for sure. So man, what a journey. What a testimony. We are all better for hearing your testimony. Thank you so much for coming through and speaking to the tribe. Hopefully a lot of them will meet you on Sunday and feel the divinity in person.
I really hope so. It'd be really dope to meet some of y'all.
Absolutely. So thank you, Goddess Artheena, so much. Thank you, Tribe, for tuning in. And don't forget, subscribe to the Tribe. Peace, Tribe. And another.